Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, first birthday is turning into a battle. Mil obsession with my baby is scaring me. I can't sleep, so I thought I would share some gems from my JustNoMil. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. First birthday is turning into a battle. So about 2 weeks ago, I posted about my ML giving my 12-month-old food without asking. Well, she's at it again, folks. So my Ella's first birthday is coming up soon, and my hubs and I decided he'd take the day off. It'd just be the three of us. I'd make a cake and we'd enjoy her first birthday together. Well, ML messages today, and she started off by reminding me my Ella will be one soon, as if I don't know that, and asked if we had plans to celebrate. I told her that I was just making a cake and we're just spending the day together. She says she bought cake mix and frosting. I reiterate I make her a cake already, so a little time passes. Then she just flat one asked, can I throw her first birthday party this Sunday? Which I responded that my hubs and I just want to have her first ourselves, because it's special to us being her first birthday. She comes back and I quote, it's special to all of us, you have her every day. I'm a som, and even if I was, it's my kiddo, of course she's with me every day. I always throw the first birthday special, it wouldn't interfere with your plans. I explained that it's her first, it's important to me, I just want to do it myself and it be a little intimate thing, and apparently from her point of view, I don't care about anyone else because I don't want to do what she wants. I'm just anxious and frustrated. Why does it have to be a fight? Why can't she just let me have my special first with my LO? Edit. Thank you guys for all the support. I'm holding my ground, but boy is she trying. We won't be around much longer, and I'm not saying you can't have your intimate moment, but I still want to throw her a party. Like, no, we didn't plan a party, there will be no party. She also tried saying anyone can plan a party for a loved one, like, not for someone's kid you can't. There can be discussion, but it's ultimately up to the parents. Second edit, so I'm trying to read and reply to as many comments as I can, but one stuck out to me. I know she just wants to celebrate her granddaughter and be a part of her life, and I'm okay with that to an extent, but she also kinda dug her own grave with some of the stuff she said and pulled when Ella was younger. Here's a little list. Degree: when Ella was a week old, we went over so she could meet her. She ran up to the car, grabbed the car seat, and just took off inside. Also told me I won't need to get Ella back other than to feed her. Degree: gave her pasta sauce at 2 months old and messed up her stomach. Also a mint recently, both times without asking. Degree: told my twin sister that my LO is basically her baby, and if it wasn't for her I wouldn't have my LO because she had her son. Degree: constantly brought up that I was breastfeeding and that we should give her a bottler, and most recently, oh, you're still doing that, you haven't given it up yet? You've already had your firsts with DH. LO is our child. DH and I will decide what celebrations are for extended family. I'm surprised that this is so far down in the comments. To everything, this is the answer. You had your firsts, we get ours. And then no more conversation about it. This should always be the answer. Of course, you can never get them to be introspective about this. The perfect response, and then no more responding to her follow-up messages. Bonus points if it comes from DH. You can throw whatever party you want. LO and I won't be there though. This is the perfect answer. Let her throw her own party and see how it turns out when they don't show up. LOL. She started off by reminding me my LO will be one soon, as if I don't know that. With your MIL, it's probably best to not let insinuations that you have no idea about your own child slide past. MIL, that's insulting. As if I don't know when I gave birth to my own child. Asked if we had plans to celebrate. Yes, of course. Don't give her more info, she's using what you say as a springboard for her next move. She says she bought cake mix and frosting. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. She just flat out asked, can I throw her first birthday party this Sunday? No. We are Ella's parents, we are doing that. Gotta go, bye. Don't justify or explain yourself, it feeds her delusion that she is in charge. Just describe your expectations. This is the point where it is clear she is stomping over your parental decisions. It's not acceptable. Don't accept it. End the interaction. It's special to all of us, you have her every day. Of course we have her every day, Elo is our child. What are you saying? That you have more right to throw our child a birthday party than we do? Did DH's grandma take over his first birthday? Is that what's going on? I always throw the first birthday special, it wouldn't interfere with your plans. Not with our child, you don't. And it does interfere with our plans. Why can't she just let me have my special first with my LO? Because you are trying to be polite, instead of making it clear that overriding your parental decisions will not work out well for her. Your go-to statement when she doesn't let things go is gotta go, bye. The secret is to hold your ground, and not get sucked into hanging around. Don't be surprised if she goes behind your back and invites a bunch of people to her place for a birthday party and invites you guys over for supper and surprise. It's a birthday party. Or the old excuse of drop by so we can give LO their present and see them open it. Don't do it. It's a party and you'll be pressured into staying. Pick the gift up another day. If you give in, you set a precedent that she can push you hard and long enough to get what she wants, and it will be much more difficult to change it later. If anyone is being disrespectful, it's her. Keep the blinds down, don't answer the door, enjoy your tiny human's birthday. I was thinking she will try to just show up cake, presents, and balloons in hand. So keep those doors locked. My Mill does that as well. If she does not like my solution, she brings it up 100 times. So disrespectful. I implemented. We already discussed this too often. You know our decision. Please don't bring it up again, to end her discussions. Tell her she's not part of the day and don't agree to a visit the following weekend, because as soon as you step into the door you'll find yourself on said party. Just give her a weekend timeout after the birthday to be sure she's not steamrolling. If you find yourself within a surprise party, pack up and leave. My MIL wanted to make sure she's part of this special day and tried to take over Elo's first birthday as well. She made plans with family and then informed us everybody should come to our town for a long weekend. So, definitely something we should be involved. I called her out how she thinks planning my kids' party and a visit without discussing it with us was appropriate, took LO and flew out of country that day. Anytime I see the comment, "We won't be around much longer, I just want a response, promise?" Or, "Keep arguing with me and it might be sooner than you think." First birthday parties, the ones I'm sure MIL is going to throw, is 100% for the adults and not the guest of honor. What you're doing sounds rad. Exactly. I don't want to host a bunch of people for them to ogle my kid and talk it's boring and overwhelming. I'm planning on giving her first cake from scratch, just like my mom would do for me, them snuggles in the park for exploring and play a date centered around her. Not adults who she won't even remember. Mill obsession with my baby is scaring me. She's made my pregnancy about herself in various ways. She demanded to be called Glamma so she wouldn't feel old. She regularly sat outside our room to wait for me to go to the bathroom so she could ask about the baby. She complained to her son that I wasn't out in the living room showing her my bump enough. She kept barging in while I was sleeping for various reasons, once while plastered drunk to reassure me that I wasn't alone. Pregnancy was awful for me. Hyperemesis, pubic symphysis dysfunction, antenatal depression, baby never stopped shifting position, I couldn't gain weight, and ended up having to have a cesarean. The baby shower featured only her friends, but she claimed it was all for me. I had no part in it other than sitting there in the corner to be looked at while stuff happened. She paraded me around her workplace to show everyone my bump, saying she would steal the baby from me while I'm sleeping so she could show off at work. She paid $500 for a scammy photographer to take maternity shots, which I canceled and had my so take actual maternity shots. She complained he wasn't in them. She demanded to go with me to prenatal appointments, then talked about her own pregnancies throughout. I stopped letting her go and she tried to shoehorn her way into the operating room. The answer was no. A few days before birth, her fiancé had to tell her that it wasn't her having the baby, which she ignored. After baby was born, she visited for too long and wouldn't stop talking about herself and work gossip. Didn't ask about my recovery from major abdominal surgery even once. Repeatedly tried to pick up baby without skill or permission, saying I'm so out of practice hee I might drop her. Interfered with baby's feeding schedule by staying too long. Once home, so when I pay most of her mortgage with our rent, they couldn't keep the house otherwise, she kept demanding to be a part of us settling in. She was told no multiple times, but ended up sleeping outside our bedroom to try to sneak in and steal baby while we were asleep. I caught her and she lied to my face about why she was there. She tried to manipulate her son with tears and guilt for upholding boundaries. She has been asking about seeing the baby daily. Yesterday, I caught her telling her fiancé that she wouldn't be able to see the baby until she's big. We have been home for 4 days at this point. She argues with boundaries and constantly tries to insert herself, acts like the baby is hers, regularly talks badly of me behind my back. Doesn't ask about my well-being, very clearly doesn't care about me. I ended up back in the hospital due to a giant hematoma sustained during the cesarean, and when we got home she was sitting waiting to ask about baby again. She's an alcoholic addict, and asked about my pain medication as well. She's refusing to let up. Her relationship with me, her son, and her fiancé are all suffering because of her obsession. I have made the boundary with my so that before she sees baby again, I want her to go to a counselor. She hasn't spoken with her sponsor, her behavior is spiraling, and she's making me think that she will escalate if she doesn't get her way. I'm also worried as to her motivation and clear urgency to see the baby. She used to drink and beat her son. She obviously doesn't want me to stick around, even though her son and I are planning on getting married. It seems like she wants my baby for herself, but she's not equipped to mother a child. Edit, please note that we cannot afford to move into our own place right now due to rental prices in our area being excessive. Moving out is not an option. Repeatedly telling me that it needs to happen is stressing me out. Edit X2, we are getting a locking doorknob. Edit X3, I honestly did not think this post would get so much attention. The advice I was looking for had more to do with how to approach the issue with her in a way that wouldn't upset her or mess with the home dynamic too much. I'm seeing a lot of people saying to shut ourselves away from her, but that solution doesn't really help the family dynamic and almost ensures that she will escalate her behavior. I'm looking for tact here, not so much stooping to her level and being petty. There is a housing crisis all over the world right now. It might be easy to sit behind a keyboard and tell OP to move out and shame her for not doing so, but rest assured, it's a lot more difficult to be done. Any further comments shaming OP and her so will result in a temporary or permanent ban, depending on mod discretion. I highly recommend this doorknob from Amazon. It's fingerprint only. I love it. Let it only be keyed to you and your spouse. She cannot add hers if she even wanted to because you as the first thumbprint will be the admin and need to use yours to approve adding hers. Also recommend adding it to any other doors you don't want her in. Thumbprint doorknob. I think you all need to sit down and bluntly tell her this is your baby, not hers, and you, and so are the only parents. I also think you should either keep your bedroom door locked or get a doorstop. I know you said they wouldn't be able to keep the house without your contribution, but I think you should look at other options. And if they have trouble paying the mortgage, where did she get the money to pay that scammy photographer? Please make sure any medication you have is locked up tight. Her behavior is escalating, and unless she gets help, she's a danger to your baby. She doesn't pay rent, 100% of her income goes to shopping for whatever she wants. She pays the water bill every couple months, but it's not a significant expense. She often complains we need to use less water so she can save for her wedding, but then shops incessantly. I don't understand. I know a lot of people are saying move out, and I understand that you feel like you can't right now. I also understand that hearing everyone say that must feel frustrating because it sounds like a simple solution to your situation, but I would argue that if she's willing to sleep outside of your door, being in a new home likely won't stop it. She'll just show up at your house instead, unless you moved a prohibitive distance away. I would say, make that your ultimate goal. Give yourself hope to get away, something to work for. Hope with how you're feeling is exactly what you need. Start squirreling away money like you're wanting to fund cancer research and your kid has it, and that's the only way to cure it, because in a way, the situation is pretty similar. Her mental health and wellness may be at stake here, but don't panic. Put yourself to task. Save your money for your goal to get out. Now, let's get to all these things. She is absolutely in the wrong here. You are right to feel violated and ignored. Use the fact that you are in the right to really and truly enforce your boundaries. You have a good start, you're saying no, but you're ultimately still giving her power. You've allowed her the freedom to do things that you're uncomfortable with, the baby shower, going to the hospital with you. Based on your descriptions, you were not comfortable with these events to begin with, and you let them occur. I'm not attacking your decision, I understand more than you know, I'm only trying to point out with no uncertain terms why she ignores you. It's because you actually haven't been enforcing your boundaries for yourself or as a parent. You're okay to say no, I don't want that. You're okay to deny her a chance to bond with your little one until she respects you as a person. You're okay to hold her at a distance because of her own choices. And you're right to hesitate when it comes to your baby. This woman will be teaching your children that just because she is an authority figure, that her way goes. Think about that for a moment. She is exemplifying very poor decisions and your children will witness this, allow it, and when they grow, will give power away themselves because that's what they witnessed. They will likely give power away in other situations too. This is exactly how toxic relationships and all the harm they breed continue. So circling back, I understand that you cannot move right now. And honestly, let's work on one problem at a time. Goal 1: establish your boundaries for real. If you don't like it, it doesn't happen. You pay the majority of the bills. Stop. Only pay your fair share. Her being irresponsible with money is yet another tool she is using to take away your power, and she knows it. That's why she shops. Her fiancé will have to step up and control her spending, or bills won't get paid. That's not your fault. You pay your fair share, remember? And no more than your fair share, because you need that money, remember? Don't give it to her. You'll have to be strong and be kind at the same time, but be repetitive and do not bend. It's going to be hard at first because she's used to getting her way, and she's, predictably, going to make you the bad guys gossiping, calling you names and saying the situation is difficult because you're making it hard. Don't listen. Remember, the reason you're uncomfortable is her decisions. She's had a lifetime of practice making people do what she wants. Be strong, keep your voice, know that you have the truth on your side and you're protecting your family. You and so tackle this together as a couple and you'll be stronger because of it. Keep establishing boundaries and save like your life depends on it. Then, get the heck out of there as soon as possible. Would it be possible for y'all to call up her sponsor and tell them what's going on with MIL and her sobriety/lack thereof and see if they might be willing to come over to the house to talk to MIL? I do not personally have her sponsor's contact information, or I would have long ago. Mil keeps this information to herself. Opie, if you don't have a locking doorknob that requires a key on your bedroom, get one now. This will keep you and your baby out of reach. Obsessive behavior is the key symptom of addiction. How do I know this? I am 13 years clean. If you are in the same home, baby, beware. Find ways to help you feel some control when you feel you have none. Be strong and stay sane. If you're in the US, they cost about $20 and can be easily installed with just a screwdriver. No damage done to the door, and easily put back when you can leave. Congratulations on your 13 years. My brother is an addict as well, and I've seen firsthand what the recovery process looks like up close. It's hard, but so worth it. There are door wedges and door bars that are affordable, easily available, and will give you some sense of security and privacy. Locks are also a good way to handle people who violate your private space. Please discuss the situation with your OB/midwife, as they will be able to help you find resources to help you get started with your safe exit plan, and also resources for support and mental health care to handle the damage of a home life like this. Also check out the resources links here at Raised by Narcissists and CPTSD. Hang in there and we'll be here for you. Han, get a rubber door jamb to keep JustNoMil out of your family's living area. If confronted, cited tenant right to privacy laws. When you and baby are able, spend time away from mother by visiting friends and family, join a mother's group, meet DH during his lunch break, etc. I'm sorry you are dealing with a JustNoMil. I hadn't thought of the tenants' rights thing, but you're absolutely right. That's a really good point. Is her fiancé sympathetic to you at all? Because if so, don't hesitate to ask him about changes to the house like others have been suggesting, deadbolt, etc. Depending on the change, it won't be all that hard to remove when you're gone, and any reasonable person in his position would want to stop enabling MIL and get her on a track to recovery. We cannot make changes to the house. Her fiancé is sympathetic and on the side of tenants' rights and common sense. He's keeping her in her place at the moment. That's definitely worrisome behavior. Is it possible to get a deadbolt for your bedroom? Or a doorstop so you can sleep in peace? This was what I was going to post. OP needs to be able to sleep without worrying MIL is sneaking in. I can't sleep, so I thought I would share some gems from my ex-JustNoMil. I've been divorced for 12 years now, but kids, so I occasionally still have to deal with her. Anyway, I thought I would share some of the nightmare. I got pregnant at 22. When I gave birth to my daughter, she wanted to be present for the delivery. I had known her for less than 9 months and wasn't fond of her, so I told her no. She freaked out that I wanted an epidural because she was sure that it was dangerous and manipulated my ex into keeping me from having any pain management. I was in so much pain, I was completely out of it and asked my mother to stay for the delivery, which really chapped her ass. She was planning on staying for a month. She lived across the country, but when she couldn't be in the room for the birth and when I was dedicated to breastfeeding and she couldn't feed my daughter, she threw a temper tantrum and left early. We were having latch issues, so it was no bottles, no pacifiers. Good riddance. We had to fly out to see them every couple months, and she would cry dramatically at the airport when we went home. She made me go to a different room to nurse and had daughter stay in the nursery she made, which was on the second floor, while we stayed in the basement. That made nighttime feeding just so much fun. We moved to their state when my daughter was almost 2 years old. We lived 2.5 hours from them, but they only visited once. I was expected to drive halfway about every 2 to 3 weeks to drop off my daughter so she could take her for a week, sometimes longer. We also went and stayed with them about once a month for a weekend. Emotionally abusive ex, if you're wondering. When she was 4, we moved again, across the country. Before moving, we stayed with them for about a month. We were expected to not only cook the family meals 3 to 4 times a week as well as buy the food, which whatever, but also to deep clean the basement we were staying in every week with a schedule of chores as well as other chores, cleaning her entire house. I'm not talking about clean the toilet and vacuum, more like wipe down the walls, dust the baseboard, wash the windows, scrub the floors, do the entire family's laundry, sing Sweet Nightingale, miss the ball. Still, whatever, but his 21-year-old sister, who was still living at home, could barely put her plate in the dishwasher. Oh, we were also working 50 to 60 hours a week in construction for his dad's company, trying to save up for our move, and she had the audacity to complain about being free childcare after demanding week-long visits. Once we moved, I would get a huge box once a week full of toys and clothes for my daughter. At 5, she had about 45 t-shirts. She had repeats of toys and clothes. She also requested that daughter spend the entire summer with her. I got pregnant again that year and welcomed another beautiful girl into our world. She decided not to show up until she was about a month old, but made sure my oldest had lots of gifts so she wouldn't feel left out with the new baby. When she did come, she entirely ignored our new daughter and didn't get her anything because we already had everything from my oldest. That hasn't changed much over the years. We moved again, this time closer to my home state. We decided to buy a house there, and found a well-kept 1970s split level. She complained it wasn't new. She decided every room needed painted a different color. For some reason the gas had been disconnected before closing and it was going to be 3 days to get it reconnected. She couldn't handle 3 days without a hot shower, so she decided to stay in a hotel, after a temper tantrum about how irresponsible I was, which, fine, but she decided to pick the most expensive hotel she could find and then tell me that she was going to buy curtains for us, but now had to spend it on the hotel. We divorced shortly after we moved. During the divorce she tried very hard to get full custody for him, with full intentions of letting her raise the kids. She moved into the house for a month while we were getting divorced. She made that year's doctor's checkups for the kids and took them without telling me to make me look bad. I had never missed a single doctor's appointment until that day. I met the real love of my life right as the divorce was being finalized. We moved in after dating for a little over a year. She convinced my ex he was just a pedophile trying to get close to my kids, because that's the only reason anyone would want to be with a woman with kids. We've been together for 12 years now, my girls love him, no creepiness. She also convinced my oldest daughter that divorce was literally the worst thing that could ever happen to a child and it was all my fault. For reference, he always had at least one side piece at all times. At one point he had 4. There's been some other big ones, but yesterday was a real gem. My oldest graduates HS next week. My ex's fiance's sister died very tragically in a car accident about a week ago. It's been rough for the girls, since they spent a lot of time with that family. XMIL came out early so she could help my ex out. Ex has pretty much been gone non-stop, so she was supposed to help with kids, meals, household stuff, etc. She berated my oldest for not knowing what she wanted to do with her life, telling her she was going to crash and burn and she wouldn't be there for her when she did. My daughter has been dragging her feet because she's worried about taking out loans for college, and XMIL told her she just needs to work a full-time job so she can pay for it. XMIL was telling her she should have been working this weekend and that she needs to get another job. She said that daughters need to clean the house and should be ashamed of themselves, and they just need to get over the death already. She then proceeds to complain that they don't want to go to the movies with her. One is numb and depressed and the other has been crying non-stop. Instead of being grief support, she made it into how they don't love her anymore and she should just leave. They are also supposed to go visit her for 2 weeks in June, but as punishment she's telling them that they shouldn't come. When they asserted that they just needed time to grieve and process what happened, she stormed out of the house. They came to my house to celebrate their half-brother's birthday and were yelled at by their dad for leaving her by herself. I now have an amazing Mael, who sadly was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and it's moving quickly. Her son is also loving, respectful, patient, kind, helpful, etc. I don't know how that translates to wives, but good Maels raise good sons. In my limited experience, JustNoMils raise awful husbands, narcissists raise narcissists. Just reinforce with daughters that their feelings, needs and wants are 1,000 times more important to you than grannies, and you will always advocate for them. I left that out, but I told them to gang up on her and set boundaries while she's here and let her know that they need to grieve how they want to. I wish I didn't have to play the delicate game of keeping my ex placated while also keeping him in line, or I would have had my youngest stay with me. Oldest is 18 and pays her own bills, so she gets to do as she pleases despite her dad's attempts to keep her from doing that. Remind your children that they are loved and that they're not responsible for their grandma's feelings. Encourage them to go to grief counseling. Follow through on MIL's request and don't make them go in June. If any FM asks about it, simply say that MIL told them not to come. Oldest would be heartbroken if she couldn't go. She wants to see her aunt and some friends. She's also old enough she gets to choose for herself. Youngest has already expressed not really wanting to go, and if I can make that happen for her I will. Trying to deal with my ex is a real peach too, and I really try to stick to our parenting plan, because if I give an inch she takes a mile. He gets 2 weeks a year, so if he sends her I can't really do much. Youngest is in counseling already. Oldest needs to be, but she hasn't clicked with a counselor since her last one moved. I keep prodding her though. You know there is no law in heaven or earth that required your daughters to spend time with their JNGM. After they turn 18 they can limit their time with their dad also if they so choose. They can limit their time before that. Depending on the state, when they get to their mid-teens, they have more control over where they want to be. I hope you tell your girls that she is wrong and awful and that they don't have to tolerate the abuse. I hope they feel strong and solidly okay within themselves and they can ignore most of her BS. I'm sorry for their loss. Have you encouraged them to have a relationship with her? I feel like you should maybe sit down with both you daughters and tell them that it's okay to set boundaries and it's okay to not want to be around grandma. This is traumatizing stuff after losing a family member and standing by, watching them break down and allowing them to be walked all over without ensuring they can cut contact with her. It's not okay. We had that conversation yesterday about setting boundaries with her. I told them they needed to be firm and advocate for their needs. Unfortunately, I can't really control what happens at his house, so the best I can do is teach them to stand up to her. My oldest will probably always have a relationship with her, but my youngest would tell her to pound sand and go NC at the first opportunity. I had a mill, we weren't married thank God, who tried to get custody of my kids even though their dad, her son, was an abusive alcoholic who couldn't have cared less about them. Fortunately she didn't get what she wanted. I feel for you, I really do XX. Thank you, that feels familiar. He ended up with 50-50 and it's a psychological disaster at his house. In the past he used it to harass me for leaving him since he couldn't do it directly anymore. Now I think it's out of habit. But honestly I think he went for custody in the first place because he wanted to hurt me, but then figured out that he could use my oldest to fill all his narc needs. I'm sorry you went through that, and I have so much love for anyone who got out of an abusive relationship. I hated my grandma. My mom always forced a relationship. I could tell she treats my mom and dad like shit. She only likes it when her son-in-law gives her money. She treated me the worst too, and only nice in front of my parents. Always talk sh*t about them when they are gone. After my mom died I cut off all contact. She tried to steal my inheritance and gave me zero help when I took care of my mom alone at 24. I have no regrets. Your daughter is 18 and the other is, I assume, pretty old too? I wouldn't send them, they're out of so-called obligations. Sending you hugs. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.